Hi guys, welcome to Football Inc. World Cup's nearly here. It's nearly upon us. And to all those that were complaining that I'd left the country out, Scotland back in, and apparently there was two Australian flags and no New Zealand flag over there. Can you see them there? So they're there now. So hopefully I've got everyone there. Maybe I've missed one out, but I'm sure someone will let me know in the chat. They always do. Guys, first things first, if you could hit the like and the subscribe button. Hope to be bringing you content every day during the World Cup. Well, at least try to. Obviously, won't be going live at 2 a.m. in the morning, but we'll be doing an overview and stuff. But first things first, as I said, hit the like button, hit the subscribe button. Trying to grow the channel now, heading for 7,000. Can't do that without you guys. Loads of you come in and watch the channel, but not all of you hit the subscribe button and the notification bell. Just hit that, and when we go live, or when I go live with myself, or whether it's Sean, or whether it's another guest, then you'll be notified. Also available on all audio platforms, that's including Spotify and of course Apple. And don't forget our sponsor, OK Jersey, who do some fantastic football. And don't forget, if you order now, you can certainly probably get your England kit before we get knocked out. That's for sure. And if you order using the code FINC, think15, you'll get an extra 15% off. Where to start? There's so much news today. Let's start with probably one of the biggest ones. There's quite a lot. Burnley FC have won a massive legal compensation case against Everton over Everton's breach of Premier League profit and sustainability rules, otherwise known as PSR, formerly known as FFP. No doubt we'll have another acronym afterwards. So the background to this is in the 21-22 Premier League season, Everton breached PSR by overspending by 19.5 million, right, over the 105 million limit over the 3 years. This led to a 10-point deduction, which was later, if you remember, reduced, but it came too late to affect that season's relegation battle. Burnley were relegated, finishing 18th or just below safety, depending on the exact standings, 4 points, just 4 points behind 17th place. Burnley claimed that they argued that Everton's breach gave them an unfair sporting advantage, costing Burnley their Premier League status and associated revenues. That's TV money, etc. They sought damages, reportedly around £60 million initially. The case was heard by an independent tribunal of resolution in London, so it's taken quite a while to get here. And the outcome today is that Burnley won the dispute, and Everton have been ordered to pay Burnley nearly £40 million, not an insubstantial sum, including compensation and interest. Obviously, Everton plan to appeal, but this is a landmark case and the first successful PR-related compensation claim. Where will this can of worms lead to? The latest news I think I just saw, let's have a look. It's Everton have launched an appeal after being ordered to pay Burnley the 35-40 million in compensation. The Toffees were deducted the 10 points, as we know, in 2023. Everton officials have lodged an immediate appeal in what they class as a completely flawed judgment. Obviously, they're going to say that because they're being forced to pay out the money. They say they will vigorously contest what they see as flawed and a hugely excessive judgment. Bearing in mind that Everton's lawyers were successful in reducing the 10 points, will they be successful again here? I personally think a lot of clubs in the league will potentially join forces to help Everton here, because could you imagine if this actual case stands its ground, because what's going to happen here is that you're opening a can of worms. What's going to happen if Manchester City get relegated, going back all those years? Could you imagine how many clubs? Think about it. How many clubs have been relegated, missed out on Champions League because the Premier League actively knew exactly that they were breaking the rules. They've continued to delay. It's costing clubs millions. The Premier League could theoretically not be able to pay them out. How are they going to pay out the tens of millions, hundreds of millions of pounds? It will literally, I'd love to see someone actually work out the potential cost of Manchester City going down now. And what about Chelsea? Could Spurs put in a claim against Chelsea for breaking the rules? I mean, they broke all the rules when they signed Eden Hazard and William, and they got a little rap on the knuckle, right? Is this going to open up a door to multiple litigation cases against clubs in the Premier League? I think it could, and I think the Premier League are going to be very, very scared as to the outcome of this case. And let's be honest, if you finish fifth and you missed out on the Champions League, I mean, now of course, it's the numbers are vastly more than they were, say, 2 or 3 years ago for competing in the Champions League, the new format and everything. But still, we're talking about tens of millions of pounds compensation. I mean, if you look at 40 million pounds, they're awarded Burnley for their relegation. They asked for 60. They've been awarded 35 or 40, depending on various different stuff. But look, it's right up there. It's absolute mad. I'm seeing some news here that Senesi bomber has just dropped, guys. So Senesi is finally a Spurs player. What a player he is too. All those people panicking. He hasn't signed yet. Why is he in Geneva? He's going to be here. What a player. If any of you do your fantasy football, many of you will have Senesi in your team. And let's be honest, he was the cornerstone of why Bournemouth went 18 games unbeaten in the league before at the end of the season. Fantastic player. I know he was training in Geneva in the hope that just in case one of the Argentinian players got injured. I think most Spurs fans were crossing their fingers that it didn't happen for obvious reasons, that he didn't get snapped up. But big shout, Johnny. Yeah, look, it's fantastic. Danny, officially signed. Thanks, mate, for that. Glad it's dropped during this show. After I've done the thumb, obviously. It's always the way. Always the way. You try and wait till 8. I thought I'd wait till like 5 o'clock and see what happens and see if any news comes. But every day it's been delayed. I was always confident that this was going to drop. I think if we get Van Hecker, I think Spurs fans are going to start to get excited. But I don't know about you guys. Obviously, Spurs fans I'm addressing here. But for me, the excitement comes buying middle players from the middle of the pitch and up top. Because let's be honest, our attack is absolutely shambolic right now. And, our attack is so poor. I mean, let's look at this, for example. If I can find it, where are we? Is this it? Look at this. Is it any wonder that Spurs struggle to get anybody in, right? Spurs are looking for a lead data scientist, right, on LinkedIn. This is a huge position in the club, and they're looking on LinkedIn to try and find it. I noticed 80 people have looked to try and sign up, which is quite incredible. hang on a second. I'm just going to try and shrink the chat here because there's loads of messages coming in now. 80 people. I mean, what sort of club are we running here, right? Paratici left in January. We're in June. We still don't have a director of football. Sebastian Kell apparently doesn't want to come. Thank God for that. He wasn't all that. He doesn't want to work with obviously Johan Lange. And it's taken them this long, and we still haven't found a director of football. And we're still here, and we're now looking for a lead data analysis scientist. If you want to be the best, then you have to look for the best, and the best in every field, whether it be medical, whether it be data management or whatever, are normally 9 times out of 10 employed. And this club is just bloody clueless, absolutely clueless. It's not a surprise that we are faffing around trying to get that. But listen, it's fantastic news that he has signed Senesi. Great progressive passer of the ball, and if Van Hecke does drop, the question is, right, what are we going to do with all these centre backs? There's rumours and people saying, oh, maybe De Zerbi's going to play a back three. I don't believe that's the case. If we watched the Holland game the other day, you would have seen that Van Hecke was playing in the same team, but Mickey van der Ven was playing at left back. Could we see a situation with Van Hecke and Senesi with Mickey potentially playing at left back? Don't rule it out. Maybe it's a possibility. Can you imagine the pace? Especially if we get some proper players in. It could be really, really, really interesting. Some other Spurs news while we're here. Let's just quickly do this. Dean Law, thanks very much. Choo choo to you. Thanks very much for the super sticker, Dean. And thanks to all of you out there. Can't have a channel without the support to you guys. And we really appreciate all of you and all that you do to support the club. Let's have a look now. So here's a player that's leaving. Any clues as to who that's going to be? Let's see if I can find it. Oh, yeah, there he is. The balloon boy himself. Yeah. Yves Bissouma. Brain dead half the time. I remember when he came in 25 million from Brighton, everyone was thinking, oh, we got ourselves a bargain. The amount of times that he did something stupid on the pitch, I mentioned before about Luton, gets booked in a second yellow card for diving. You know, the balloons, more than once getting caught on video doing that crap, dressed head to toe in Louis Vuitton. I mean, he seemed to be more interested about what was going on off pitch than on pitch. So I'll wave goodbye. Thanks very much. His highlight for me would be Bilbao and that night where he actually turned up in that first half. And yeah, it was a fantastic performance that night. But adios, ciao, arrivederci, and thanks very much. Other news, Ben White has signed for Spurs on another year's contract. That went down like a lead balloon with a lot of Spurs fan base because, you know, what's he going to offer? 13 years at the club. But look, the guy's a leader off the pitch. And maybe De Zerbi, who's got a history of, you know, having someone like James Milner about towards the very end of his career, hardly getting any minutes, but a leader in the dressing room. You got Jordan Henderson at England and at, you know, at Brentford. Maybe he's going for this sort of approach. I personally thought that was Andy Robertson, but no, it wasn't to be. Another player Spurs were interested in, but you can forget about that. Bournemouth have put a valuation on Alex Scott now of £80 million. I mean, it's just the numbers. The 22-year-old is a great player. For me, started off as an 8. Sorry, it's a 10. and since his injury, he plays more like a hybrid 8-10. Really good player, but 80 million, is 80 the new 50? I'm not sure. I think that the amount of money being asked for some of these players is absolute nuts. That's my thoughts on the matter. Anyway, on some other news, is somebody else. Spurs have been linked with this guy. Tottenham Hotspur and Aston Villa are interested in signing Paris Saint-Germain goalkeeper Lucas Chevalier this summer. The 24-year-old, if you remember, was signed for £40 million as a replacement, to replace Donnarumma. But he only started 6 games last year, and apparently Spurs are looking at him. Whether or not that's the sort of player Spurs really need, I'm not quite sure. They need a keeper. Obviously, Vicario looking like he's going to be going to out to either Inter Milan or Juventus. But it's for for a player of his level, of £40 million, to have only got 6 games is absolute madness. But another player which I'm struggling to understand how this story's come about is Julian Alvarez. He got an offer from Barcelona for €100 million. That was laughed out of court. And then Perez promised, I don't know if you saw the press conference, now he's won the presidential elections, that he was going to bring in £150 million player to the club for Jose Mourinho. And the rumour was last night that, in fact, Real Madrid had bid €150 million. Yeah, €150 million for Julian Alvarez. And Atletico have said, "You make us laugh even more than Barcelona," said the official Atletico Madrid social team as they mocked the bid. I mean, I'm not sure what they're trying to do here, because let's be honest, he's got a buyout clause. You know, Spain has these crazy buyout clauses. He's got a buyout clause of 500 million. Now, they paid 80 million from Manchester City. There was rumours that Arsenal were looking to make a bid, but they were looking at around 80 to 100 million pounds due to the fact that Berta bought him to the club last time. But I don't know. I mean, 100 million euros maybe, but 150 million. Come on, guys, it's just like mad. And they've said no. I think they're just playing around. The thing is about Atletico Madrid, obviously a lot of rumours that Cuti Romero will go there, but we're told they can't afford £40 million. Yet they found 80 million for Julian Alvarez. They're looking to sell him for over 100 million euros, 150 million pound. Come on, who's kidding who here? I think this World Cup is going to push prices through the roof. You got Enzo Fernandez, who wants to leave, and think about how much he cost Chelsea. We'll have to wait and see. Let's see some of your comments. Yeah, he was shocking in the Super Cup final. Sure, you're absolutely spot on, mate. What are we looking at here? 60 to 80 million. Geez, are you talking? I'm not sure if you're talking about Alex Scott. I'm not sure. Who am I tipping to win the World Cup, Johnny? I would say France or Spain, if I'm honest. France, Spain, or Argentina, I would say would be the main ones. But we'll come on to that. We'll come on to that in a minute. Guys, I mean, what are you thinking about this this fee? 150, and obviously the fee Bournemouth are putting on Ben White, £80 million. I just think that the prices have gone mental, absolutely mental. Um, Talking about going mental, let me show you this. Right, let me show you this. So, um, Brazil was shown 8 red cards. You heard 8 red cards in the defeat by the USA. One of them was for this elbow in the face by the Brazilian player. Let me read, see if I can find the news article. Um, I mean, I thought it was just the men's game that was a bit mad. It says Brazil saw red literally against the USA. That's some elbow, isn't it? In a women friendly, it was a friendly game. I had to think it was if it was competitive. The host head coach Arthur Ellis was the first to be dismissed alongside 3 of his backroom staff towards the end of the second period, while 2 Brazilian players were sent off in added time and another 2 after the final whistle. Bia Zamaretto was shown a second yellow card for a push on Emily Sonnet before Takioni received a straight red for an elbow to the face. That was not the end of the drama, with Man City forward Caroline sent off after the final whistle for confronting the referee. Oh, guys, I thought this, I thought the aggression and losing their shit was just in the men's game. I think it must be just the South American mentality. I think I mean, when did you ever see 8 people sent off? Maybe in a sort of an Argentinian derby, Copa America game or something like that. But to have 8 women. Well, it wasn't just the women, was it? Let's get the facts straight. Context is everything. It was the men and the women. But I didn't see. We've seen the elbow. I didn't see any submissions, any choke outs, any of that. But yeah, it's another thing. Johnny, I want another RG Castanes at Spurs. Do you rate him? Listen, right now, I think Spurs need to get in a director of football, and I think one of you out there needs to, if you've got any data experience, get onto LinkedIn and join the 80 who have already applied for the job. Madness. I'll tell you another story actually, which I don't know if you remember. Sean and I went on about a lot. I'll come on to some other transfer news. There's lots of transfer news, guys, and we'll go on to the World Cups and the predictions and stuff, and who you fancy. But French football club Olympique Lyonnais have said it filed a criminal complaint after internal investigation allegedly highlighted unjustified financial flows worth several hundred millions of pounds and euros under the previous management. Do you remember? I don't know if those of you who are new, you might not remember, but those of you who are regular, Sean and I often talked about John Textor and Eagle Football Holdings. He used to have a stake in Crystal Palace. He had a stake in Botafogo. He had a stake in Lyon. And he was rumored to be doing a collaboration with our favourite man from Greece, Marinakis. Anyway, for those who don't know, Textor is an American businessman with Eagle Football Holdings, a multi-club ownership group. He built a career in tech and media, and he was involved in Fubo TV and early ventures like Digital Main, where he faced lawsuits there, but was cleared of financial wrongdoing by the courts. See, we've got a history here. There's a history. He promotes multi-club models, but the French financial regulators reportedly scrutinised the club, leading to provisional relegation threats. Basically, what he was doing, he was taking money from Lyon to go to Botafogo and their players so that they could win the Brazilian league. And then he still owed them money. And at the end of the day, what actually happened was Lyon were in massive financial issues. And one was reporting to the other. Reports of creative bookkeeping Unusual payments, e.g., club records showing payments to far more players than are actually on the squad. This is fucking great. Where are we? Far more players than are actually on the squad. Funds allegedly shifted to support other Eagle clubs like Botafogo, leaving Leon in financial difficulty. And tensions escalated with lawsuits between Leon, Botafogo, and the Eagles entities over unpaid transfer fees and inter-club debts. Botafogo are suing Leon for tens of millions related to player deals. He's heavily leveraged player investments, multi-club cash flows, and challenges meeting the UEFA regulations. He's defended the model and says it works. Well, he's already lost control of Leon to, I think it's Arias Group. This just says, what happened to investigating owners for being fit and proper to run a club? There's no due diligence. This guy's got a history of it. Before he even got into football, he's been on the courts. Yes, he's been cleared. No smoke without fire. And I think this guy, Crystal Palace, had a really, really lucky escape that he got out of Palace, because he could have really seriously brought them down. He caused, obviously, all the problems, which is why they got thrown out of the Europa League. And remember, who went into the Europa League? Marinakis' Forest. Who is Marinakis friendly with? John Textor, Leon. It's all interwoven. But thankfully, Crystal Palace came out smelling the roses in the end, because they won the conference. Big up to them. And they will be in the Europa League next year. So, you know, they came out okay, which is really good to see. Let's have a look at some of the other transfer news, and there's quite a lot of them. Let's start with Newcastle. Excuse me. Obviously, the big one for Spurs fans, Senesi. But Newcastle have signed highly rated goalkeeper Ewan Yohan from Stade Reims for a deal for £24 million for the goalkeeper. Again, clubs with directors of football. Wilson's in there. Good director of football. Getting the job done. We want to see money signings coming into Spurs. I can't see how that's going to happen. We know about Ben Davies, as we said before. Senesi signed on a 4-year deal, which will take him till he's more or less 32 years of age. And of course, very happy about that. Mo Salah has received an offer from Al Ittihad that has potential to take his annual earnings, wait for this, above Cristiano Ronaldo. Difficult decision for him there. So I think any conversation that Liverpool fans were having that now Slot's gone, that he's going to come back to Liverpool, nah, it's not going to happen. Guys, don't forget, please hit the like and the subscribe button in the chat, please, and don't forget, can't do that without you. And thanks for the super sticker from before. Raul Jimenez, interesting one. His contract ran out of Fulham. He's now gone back to the club where it all started for him in this country, Wolverhampton Wanderers, signing a 2-year deal. He will be a great signing for them, and he will do fantastic for them in the Championship. Wouldn't be surprised if they have a speedy return. Other news: Crystal Palace now have joined the race for Hayden Hackney, join Everton. It's going to be interesting to see the price they put on him, because Everton and Crystal Palace are talking about a fee of £20 million. I can't see that washing. I'm not the massive fan of Hayden Hackney. I think he's a good player, but I don't think physically he's good enough for the Premier League, for a top club. But he might be absolutely fantastic for for them, and the new manager, Pierre Sage who's looks like he's going to be the new manager there. Let me know in the chat what you think to what's going on there, guys. Come on, hit the like button. I know there's not a lot of you watching, but let's try and build that up. Matías Fernandes wants the next club to offer him a major role, and there's multiple clubs after him. Man United, I think, are at the forefront because I can't see them winning the race to get Elliot Anderson. Doesn't look like that's going to happen to me. I know Forest are saying it's not happening. The problem for City and for anyone else who's looking to get any player out of Forest right now, that midfield of Elliot Anderson and Morgan Gibbs-White, I can only see them letting one go. So you got to move quick. But Man United, I think, because they don't think they're going to get Elliot Anderson, are going to make strong moves for Matías Fernandes. Again, West Ham asking 80 million. Everyone, 80 million is just the number being plucked out the sky for everyone right now. But they face competition from Arsenal and, believe it or not, Real Madrid for the former, and Paris Saint-Germain, apparently, for the West Ham midfielder. So it's going to be an interesting one to see what happens there. As I said before, Aston Villa trying to hijack a potential bid from Arsenal for Morgan Gibbs-White. Again, I can't see both of them being allowed to go. There's no way Marinakis. We know what happened before. One of them will get kidnapped, no doubt, and taken, and then we'll see him on the TV saying, "Yes, Mr. Marinakis, I love it here." Yes, I'm not quite sure. I'm not quite sure which one's going to go first, but my bet would be on Anderson. Interesting story here. Conversations going on between Paris Saint-Germain and Liverpool, and the conversation is that Paris Saint-Germain have proposed multi-players to Liverpool, and they include Zabani, who PSG bought, if you remember, from Bournemouth to Liverpool. Obviously, he knows the player, Iriola, so that maybe makes sense. They're trying to tempt him there. They want around £57 million for him. I think they paid around about 50. And they're also looking at Lucas Berardo and Warren Zaire-Emery. I don't think Warren Zaire-Emery is going anywhere. I think he looks like a really, really talented player. I think Liverpool might, if Jose Mourinho doesn't fancy him, I can maybe see a situation where Dean Huijsen ends up maybe leaving Real Madrid if he doesn't think he's going to get any game time and minutes, and goes to rejoin Iriola at Liverpool. I can see that one happening. Interesting to see what happens there with that. Van Hecker, like the Van Hecker deal, it's just running on and on and on, but I think it will get done at the end of the day. The other ones, Marco Palestra, the defender from Atlanta. Inter Milan have had a bid of 40 million turned down, but rumours are that Manchester City are going to come in for the Italian. I think, like, the Premier League can, if it wants to, really blow everyone out the water when it comes to these players. Let's see some of the chat. What have you got here, guys? Let's see. Announced. It's all a lot of chat about Senesi. Dear England, fantastic. If anyone hasn't watched that, Saz, it was really, really good. What's his name? I've forgotten his name now. Who played Gareth Southgate was fantastic. Good impression of Harry Kane as well. I'll leave that one there. No, it was a really good show. I expected it to be pretty poor, but I found it pretty good, actually. Chelsea love £100 million purchase, and Chelsea are preparing a potential £100 million move for Real Madrid's midfielder Arda Güler at the request of Xavi Alonso. Obviously, Xavi, having worked at Real Madrid, he excelled at Real Madrid under his tutorship. It was just a pity all the others went on strike and did not help Alonso while he was there at all. I think Perez made a huge mistake giving Mbappe, Vinicius, Bellingham, Rodrigo, and all these guys, Rudiger, so much player power to override what I think is a very good manager. But yeah, I mean, he's only 21 years of age. Arda Güler, fantastic player. Turkish boy. He's got it all, really. Whether or not he can do it in the Premier League remains to be seen. I think you'll probably end up seeing a lot of players going out of Chelsea, that's for sure. To see if there's any other. Oh yeah, Manchester United as well are tracking international aid striker Pio Esposito as they look for a backup to Benjamin Sesko. The 20-year-old was watched during Italy's win over Greece on Sunday. So it's another player to look at. I'm just trying to see one that gets rolled out every year if you're a Spurs fan. Guyson Bremer. Why are we linked with him? Because it's CAA base. We know CAA do a lot of work with Spurs. He's 29 years of age at Juventus. Surely we're not buying him. Let's start buying some midfielders and some attackers and get the juices flowing. One player that Atletico Madrid, I think, will sign unless Real Madrid can convince him. I definitely think he's going to Madrid, is Bernardo Silva. He's on a free transfer. Who's going to be the one to convince him? Jose Mourinho or Diego Simeone? I think at Atletico, he's going to be playing week in, week out. Real Madrid might be a little bit more difficult. There's so much competition for places. I think if you're going fishing for quality from, to come bring into the Premier League, I think there could be a lot of players leaving Real Madrid this summer. Mourinho will definitely get rid of a few of them. And maybe there'll be some, well, I was going to say bargains, but some quality players, especially for our club. Instead of buying players from relegated clubs, how about buying players from clubs at the higher echelons of football? See what else is there. I think that's about it as far as the other transfer news is concerned. So let's look at the World Cup, guys. Let's see some of your comments. Opening game is, let's see what we got here. Kobe Mainoo, Bruno Fernandes, glad spoke Matthias Fernandes is the only place to play football north. That's this. Look, I think Fernandes is, I mean, the funny thing about Matthias Fernandes, incredible. He went down with Southampton and got a move for £38 million to West Ham. And he's got relegated again. And now they're asking 80 million for him. That's not only £120 million for a player that's got relegated twice. Quite incredible. Look, he is very talented. No two ways about it. He's very young. But I'm just mindful of some of these numbers. And, if your club hasn't done any business now, you need to be doing business before some of these 80, 90 million pound deals, crazy deals are done, because they're going to set the benchmark price for other deals that are coming through. That's why I'm interested to see the Hayden Hackney one, because if he does go, I don't think he's going to go for 20 million, but if he goes for, say, 30, 35 mil, someone like Adam Walton, for me, it's like 70, 65, 70 million. This is 90, 80, 90, 100 mil. It's madness. Same with Van Hecker. Brighton paid £2 million for Van Hecker. Two. He's got 1 year left on his contract, but they want £70 million. Why? Because they know Liverpool want a centre back. They know Chelsea want a centre back. And if they come in over the top of what Spurs have bid, Spurs have had 2 bids rejected. There's rumours that a third one's gone in, but it still hasn't been rectified, confirmed, should I say, exactly what that bid was. Then I don't know, but I just think it's silly season already before the World Cup. And how bad is the hype going to be during and after the World Cup? Because, like, how many times, if you look back through history, there's so many players. For every Enzo Fernandez that's been bought after a successful World Cup, there's many, many players that have been bought and never, ever replicated the form that they showed in that World Cup. I think it's going to be a very different World Cup this year. I think it's going to be reminiscent of, in my opinion, of Mexico 1970. I know it's Mexico and America, but I'm talking about that. If you look back on the old games where you saw Brazil playing, especially in the final against Italy, how players were literally walking around the pitch due to the heat and the humidity. And bearing in mind that was 1970s, apparently there's been global warming. So things are going to be a lot hotter and a lot more intense. And yeah, there's a 3-minute water break, but I think the game is going to be much slower. I definitely think it's going to benefit players who have missed a lot of the season through injury or not getting many minutes at club level, maybe. And I think we're going to have a misrepresentation of players. You might see players excel because of the amount of space they have, come on the 50th, 60th minute when teams definitely start to tire. I know it's not a good example, but if you look at the example, the England game, players were definitely visibly tiring. Scotland, Bolivia, same sort of thing. And these are friendly games. So it'd be interesting to see. As I said, the big game tomorrow, kicking off at 8 p.m, will be South Africa versus Mexico, the hosts. So that should be great atmosphere. But let's see some of the comments here. Adam Walton wastes the money. Listen, I think he's a good player, Lucky, but I actually think that you're talking about 65 million, maybe 25 million they paid for him. This is a player, Sandro Tonali, top player, Bruno Guimaraes. But again, it's the same situation as at Nottingham Forest. They are not going to let, Newcastle are not going to let Tonali go and Bruno go and Harvey Barnes go. It's just not going to happen. They might sell Walter Marde, they might sell Avissa, but they ain't selling that entire midfield. That midfield of Tonali, Bruno and Joel Linton, it's like beast-like. And we all know that when Newcastle don't have Champions League football, European football, they're a completely different team to be dealing with. But it'd be interesting to see what happens there. Let's see some of the comments. Sean will be dipping in and out, Gorby, of the show. He's going to come on and explain, but we're going to have other guests on the show. The show is very much alive, and we'll be doing all sorts of things come the summer. So don't desert the show. Don't desert the show. There's plenty more to come on. Where's that? Different setup now. Sean will come in and explain. But we're going to have guests on the show. It's going to be slightly different. We're going to be covering all of the European football. We're going to be doing lots of stuff. We're going to be carrying stuff throughout the World Cup. But it's just going to be a slightly different show. But he will be guesting on. He will be coming on, and he's going to come on and tell you what's going on. Let's see some other comments, guys. Who do you fancy? Right, so let's see the World Cup, guys. What's this here? We still need to know what DK does all day for a living. He'll tell you in the private chat. He'll tell you. Right, so guys, Mexico versus South Africa. What are we thinking here? South Africa will be used to the heat. But will they be used to altitude? I can't even remember where this one is actually in Mexico, whether it's high altitude or not. But I've thought that Mexico will take every bit of advantage they can get. But should be a good game. I expect obviously Mexico to go through. It's going to be interesting this World Cup. But when you look at teams like Curacao and other teams, are we going to see a fairy tale story? I don't know, mate. I don't know. Are we going to see New Zealand do anything, or any of these smaller clubs? I think it's just pure greed. Big up, Sam in the chat. Nice to see you. Let us know what you think about the Man United signings, Matheus Fernandes potentially coming. I think I think basically Elliot Anderson is done, mate. I can't see that coming. Listen, there's nothing wrong with the old expletive. Come on, we all do it. Yeah, Gorby, the new rules are going to affect teams. I think it's going to affect the referees, because let's be honest, right? The referees in the Premier League don't understand the same rules they've had all season. So what is going to happen with these referees when they go in and try to understand these ones? I can't bear watching Infantino, right? He reminds me of like a Caesar, one of those films when he's sitting in his chair and, holding his hand up to the crowd and going like this every time VAR comes in. Let's look up to Infantini. They have killed this tournament before it's even started. The whole point of having it in America, guys, was to bring in, first of all, a new generation of football fans, young, get them into the game, especially in America, and grow the game. How can you grow a game when you're charging $2,000 for a ticket? I mean, fans in the Premier League, we complain about the cost of a ticket, whether it's 100 quid or 150 quid or 200 quid, wherever you may sit. But for thousands of dollars to watch like Iran versus Egypt, are you taking the piss? I mean, it's absolute fucking nuts. And not only that, if you're in New York, for example, to catch the metro, a normal $9 return journey, they're asking $150. It's like nuts. You're trying to kill the game. It's all about grids, all about taking money, and not about the future of the game. $200 to park your car. I mean, what is that? And then the fan parks. When have you ever gone to a European Cup final anywhere and had to pay to get into a fan park? That's what they're talking about doing, charging money to go to a fan park. God knows what the beer prices are going to be and everything else. I just think that the whole thing has just become an absolute shit show out there. Vinicius Junior, Angus, look, if I was talking about Vinicius Junior to Arsenal, I would be accused of clickbait. But look, if anyone could get Vinicius Junior to Arsenal, it would be Berta. I expect Arsenal to do big business this season. They're going to get rid of your Trossards. They're going to get rid of your Ben Whites. They're going to get rid of Gabriel Jesus, potentially Odegaard as well. They're going to bring in big money. Maybe Ethan Nwani will go. And that's going to raise a shitload of money, plus the amount of money that's flooding into that club, winning the Premier League, finally the Champions League, and the huge amount of money that's there. Sponsors, they're fighting off sponsors. Tottenham are struggling to find one. Maybe they're looking on LinkedIn for sponsors. Can someone check LinkedIn to see if Spurs are sponsors required for club shirt? Good luck with that one next season. But no, I think I will leave that one. I can't believe that one, to be honest with you. I think maybe a Victor Osimhen is a likely, or a Morgan Rogers, someone like that is more likely, in my opinion. Guys, if you're here watching the channel, please do me a favor, hit the like button, and if you're watching later, hit the hype. I really appreciate the support. Can't do any of it without you, and we can't do anything without our sponsor, OK Jersey. Use that code FINC down there at the bottom to get 15% off. Great clobber there. Lovely merch. If you order your England top now, you'll get it before we get knocked out. Don't go spend 100 quid on those shirts. It's a bit like the Spurs shirt. Hardly ever changes. Let's put a stripe down here. Yeah, that's our design. A Spurs, Nike Spurs shirt design meeting must take between 3 and 5 minutes a season. Absolute crap. Terrible. Let's have a look here. USA lacks traditional football DNA of football, like European. Yeah, listen, I totally get you, but how do you bring that in to bring the football DNA and sort of ease out the NFL and the NBA and the NHL when you've got someone like Infantino and FIFA who are just about making the money? No one can go. Look, it's meant to be the people's game. There's nothing wrong with making money and put it into grassroots football. I'm all for that. But this is the R and pillage of football. This isn't about the good of the game. 48 clubs in the tournament is nothing other than getting more money into their coffers. For them, more trips to Zurich, more trips to fly around the world in their private jets and line their pockets. It's not about the kid playing in Guatemala or Honduras or in Asia, in Timbuktu, to build a football pitch and give them a goalpost and, set up coaches around the world. That isn't what this is about. That's the smoke screen. That's the front end. That's the front loading that they try to project. But back of house, it's all about cash. Take the cash, whack it in the bank and spend it on yourselves. And I think it's an absolute joke, to be honest with you. And Wenger's part of it. Yes, no doubt. So guys, come on. Let's hear some of you. I want to see the teams you fancy for the final, or for the final to win it. Let's see them. I mean, France. I mean, look, for me, it's going to be France, Spain, Argentina. Those are the three. England, I think they're going to have a few players with red faces, a lot of sunburn, especially in the Scottish team. Get into trouble for that one. Spain, yeah. Spain, I think Spain or France. Let's see what others here we got. Where's Foxy? Foxy's, and let's have a look. What's Foxy saying? You'd be happy to sell. Are you talking about Bruno? Let's see. Sam, France. Let's see some of the other choices, guys. Cape Verde, good. Who's going to be your surprise? Okay, let's mix it up a bit. Let's Tonali. Yeah, Tonali. Okay. Yeah. Okay. I think he could easily go to an Arsenal as well, or another one. Scotland as the surprise team. Yeah. I think that's the Scottish person that might have thrown that one in. Surprise, Norway. Yeah. I think you could be right there. It's going to be interesting. Do you know what? I mean, when you think about it, Sweden were absolutely horrendous. Hardly won a game, but they managed to sneak in through the Nations League. So it'd be interesting to see how they will do. Mind you, being a Scandinavian team, I can't see them doing well with the heat. Yeah, Italy will be the surprise as they're not actually in the tournament, but that would be a surprise. Argentina win, surprise Japan. Yeah, I mean, Japan will be used to the humidity. They run forever. Um, Maybe it's a good shout. It's not a bad shout. Listen, when the show ends, I want you to drop them all in the comments. Um, Team you fancy to win and your surprise team. So it's logged so that I can then look back and there'll be no surprises in that. So I'm going to go for France to win. It's not really a shock, really, that one. I was going to go for Argentina, but I'm going to go for France. And my surprise team, I'm going to go my surprise team, Senegal. Yeah, Senegal. Let's see what happens. Tony, don't mock my old country, Cape Verde. It's meant to be a lovely country, Tony. Tony's obviously now in Sweden. But we'll see. You have to drop them in the chat, guys, and let us know. Surprise England. Is that surprise England to get out of the group? Not to get sunburnt? I mean, I don't know what's going on with Agent Tuchel. Do you think that is a secret agent? I'm not sure. I think he could be secret agent Tuchel, sent by Germany into the England camp to screw us up. We'll see tonight. They're playing Costa Rica. So we'll be able to see what's going on. Ivory Coast will be all right as well. Oh, Ivory Coast, Angus. Good shout. Well, yeah, okay. Fair enough. Yeah, that was a cheap shot. That's not really okay. I'll look for another one. Okay. Can I go for Morocco? No, I'm not going Morocco, just out of principle. I'm not going to go Morocco. I'm going to go for Uruguay. There you go. I'm going to go for Uruguay. France, and my surprise being Uruguay. Let's see some of the others. Mr. Boaton is Colombia, Ecuador, Japan, and mine. Three good shouts. I mean, that's the beauty of these early stages. You know, when you look back at Cameroon being the shock with Roger Milla. Do you remember that one? Some of the magic moments of the World Cup. I hope we have lots of those, and I hope the football is the star of the World Cup, not VAR, not referees, not Donald Trump, not Infantini, or not the Iranian story, or I do feel sorry for the Somalian referee who wasn't allowed in. Politics should not be in football, that's for sure. But it is what it is. We can't. Saka's not fit. Saka's not fit. I mean, Graham, mate, what is going on? He's never bloody fit. Probably, if you want my honest opinion, Arteta's probably asked all of his Arsenal players to pull out the World Cup like they do out of every flipping tournament they're in, so that they're fresh for next season, which actually is going to be a really interesting thing, because I think the season starts, is it the 22nd? Excuse me, the 22nd of August. But after the World Cup, the Premier League, Champions League, I think there's going to be a lot of extremely tired players next season, starting the Premier League, and it's going to be interesting. And when you look at players like, for example, Phil Foden, Cole Palmer, who just played almost 2 years of relentless football. The fact that they're now having a break, and they're having a whole summer break, I expect to see Phil Foden and Cole Palmer hit the ground running next season in the Premier League. And some players who we expect to be on it, to not to be on it. Remember, Cole Palmer and Man City were in the Club World Cup, which was even more money for Infantini and more games. So it'd be interesting to see. But Saka ill again. If he's not there and he ain't going to play, I don't want him in the squad. Send him bloody home. No interest. Foxy, always the voice of reason. Another team to keep an eye on, depending where the games are played. But if Mexico are playing in altitude, yeah. I think I mentioned that before, Foxy, in the sense that I wasn't sure whether that first game against South Africa is being played at altitude. If it is, the air is rarefied. You can hardly breathe. You need acclimatization there, which is why I'm not sure whether or not when Senesi was out training in the mountains in Switzerland, whether or not he was training in case he got called up for for Argentina, whether or not he thought he was going to be playing some games at altitude. But no, that's a really good shout. I think that's a valid point. It's very, very difficult to play in Mexico, and as I say, one of the host teams, they could go easily all the way. Send Noni, Rice, Eze, and Rogers home as well. Yeah, that's because you're a gooner. That ain't happening. England smart take, mix the attack, both Rogers. So who are we starting in the midfield? Do we think that, in all fairness, that it should be Morgan Rogers or Jude Bellingham? I mean, Bellingham didn't have a good season this season. He had his injuries, loss of form. Will that mean, like I mentioned before, that although Morgan Rogers had a good season, he's played a heck of a lot of games. Think about all the Europa League games he's played, all the way through to the final. Whether or not that may make him a bit leggy, and it might mean that Jude Bellingham might have the opportunity to play more minutes because he will be fresher. It's going to be an interesting one to see, and it's that flipping around the players. I think for sure the two players guaranteed to start in the middle of the park, and it will not change. I think they'll play every single game, is Elliot Anderson and Declan Rice. I can't see in a world in which those two are admitted. Let me know what you guys think in the chat here. I don't think Bellingham is as good as he thinks he is. Well, I think Angus, that's going to change when he gets in front of Jose Mourinho. Mourinho will give him a wake-up call, but I think he'll do it. What's this here? Ashley Clark to Woking. Yeah, bring you all the big news first here. That's a big one. McKenna leaving Ipswich. Yeah, he's going to go to Fulham. Crystal Palace were interested in him, but no, that's not going to happen. As I said before, it looks like Pierre Sarge, who was at, was it Lille, who had a fantastic season. He's had one season in French football, and he took them into the Champions League and second in the league and won a trophy. So a fantastic signing again there for Crystal Palace. See, they work quickly. They have a proper director of football who knows what he's doing, who knows how to scout talent, something we don't have. What else we got here? Let's see some other chats. Keep them coming, guys. No Clinton and Jai updates. He's now working as a taxi driver somewhere, no doubt. What have we got here? Lucky Singh. Spain, Japan, England, Uruguay, Scotland might suppress. Is there any more you'd like to mention? I like Uruguay, obviously, for obvious reasons. Bentancur, I think in a slow-paced game, he's going to excel. I really do, because he's beautiful on the ball. He'll glide easy. Maybe his fitness, he won't be able to last 90 minutes. But Scotland, be interesting to see what they do. They're going to be playing two up front, and they've actually got some players who can score goals for once. And Scott McTominay, McGinn, yeah, some good players, but they haven't got an easy group, let's be honest. So, let's see what happens. Let's see what other news we got. Sky Sports understands will not be joining Fulham. Interesting. The news is fluid. So where is he going? One thing's for sure, Thomas Frank will not be going to Crystal Palace. Thomas Frank must probably need about 3 years off after. It's Lens, isn't it? Yeah, sorry. Lens. Sorry, Reese. It began with L. You try doing this show after a while, you get tongue tied. He did a fantastic job at Lens, and he really deserves his chance. But amazing leaving team in the Champions League, but to go to Crystal Palace to come and play and manage in the Premier League is every manager's dream. And I think that he would have got a very good wage for the job on those credentials, because he would have had other interest. Spain or Japan, keep them coming. What's this? Where do you think Julian now? Look, Berta at Arsenal definitely wants him. He's made no secret of it. And as I said earlier, he's the guy that took him to Atletico Madrid. They don't like him there actually anymore. Obviously, he left, and if you saw the game between Atletico Madrid and Arsenal, there was a bit of a push and shove going on between Berta and was it Simeone on the touchline and a few of the staff. So yeah, I think it's very difficult because Barcelona desperately need a striker. Do they have any money? Because they've sold off just about everything. I don't understand the 70 million they've just coughed up for Anthony Gordon when they got Marcus Rashford for 25 to 30 million euros. If you're short of money and they don't sign a striker because Lewandowski's off, I know they'd love Harry Kane, but Bayern Munich aren't going to let him go. I don't know. I think Real Madrid is the more likely, unless the reason Julian Alvarez doesn't want to be at Atletico Madrid is because he doesn't like Madrid. Why would you move? Why would you want to move from Atletico and go somewhere and then you move just along the road? There's been no links with him moving to Real Madrid until Perez and Mourinho. Perez won the election and Jose Mourinho came in, because all the news for Perez was that he wanted to spend £150 million on signing Michael Olise. That isn't going to happen. I can't see PSG letting Dembele go, or someone like Bradley, maybe Barcola, but not Desiree Doué or any of the top midfielders. So I think he's going to end up at Real Madrid or Arsenal. I'd love to see him at Barcelona personally, but I can't see where they're going to get the money from, is my question. Barcelona had given up on the 1-1 thing by La Liga due to the stadium change again to finish off their own ground. Look, that ground, I mean, they spent absolute fortunes on it and it's still not functioning properly. I don't understand what's going on there. Absolute fucking madness. Let's see if there's any other. What have we got here? Atletico have already publicly trolled, but yeah, I mentioned it before, Reese. They took the piss out of them, but now it's being reported that all the main Barcelona, Real Madrid newspapers have said that the story's true, and now they're saying that there is no bid, there never has been a bid, and it's all a load of rubbish. I'm not sure. Let's see. We are selling Manuel Ugarte to Inter Milan, Rome. You'd do well to get 25 million for Ugarte. I mean, listen, I thought he was a fantastic player when he was out in Portugal. He went out to PSG, wasn't it? Was it PSG? Didn't really work for him there. He's come to Man United. It really hasn't worked for him there either. He's been a big disappointment. But listen, I'm sure he'll have a good World Cup for Uruguay. and we'll see what happens. That might up his price, but for me, here's one that's going to put the cat amongst the pigeons. Mason Greenwood, 20 million to RS Roma, 20.2. Could you imagine if De Zerbi said he wanted Mason Greenwood back? Could you? Jesus Christ. It's the sort of thing that would happen. It's the sort of thing that would happen to Spurs. But we shall see. Okay, what else we got here? If we get him, Carl Havertz and Jesus Nita. Havertz is not leaving Arsenal. Not a chance. No way. Jesus will go. Jesus will go. Martinelli will go. Ben White will go. Potentially Odegaard. Potentially Ethan Nwari. I can't see Lewis Skelly leaving because of his performances in those last few games where really he played well above his years. Hate to say it about an Arsenal player, but that's the truth. He did do that. Guys, please hit the like and the subscribe button, and really appreciate all your support. I'm going to go in a minute, but remember to drop the likes and your comments in after the chat and tell me who is your team to win, who is your surprise team of the tournament, and we'll see where we go from there. But listen, thanks very much for your support, and thanks very much to OK Jersey. Let's see if there's any last minute conversations that I missed. Let's see what we got here. I think our business right, we can dominate the Premier League. Listen, Angus, no one wants to hear about Arsenal dominating the Premier League for years to come. You're insufferable. Your fans are insufferable. It's hard. If you had a bit of humility and were humble, right, you'd be fine. But no, you don't know the word humble, unfortunately. No, it's just not going to happen. Guys, thanks very much. And for your support. I'm going to go now. See you tomorrow, either for an upload or a live before the Champions League, the World Cup kickoff. It's what we waited for 4 years. Let's hope it's a brilliant tournament with brilliant football and not spoilt by the powers that be. See you soon. Bye for now.